Hello there. Today, I'd like to speak to you about branding and visibility, and I'd like to speak about it in the context of where I started this email sequence a few days ago about integrating the material and the spiritual aspects of life. When we look at the spiritual journey, as I see it, it's got several parts. There's the journey up the mountain, the classic spiritual journey, the quest of knowing who and what you are. And there's a saying that, I looked for myself and I found God. I looked for God and I found myself. And it's so true. If you've been on that search and you've had an experience of who and what you are, an experience of the oneness of all things, you will know what I am speaking of. And whether you have had that realization or not, there is in the modern world, there is always the requirement to put ourselves into the world in some way that we feel that we found our place and can give our gifts. And the reason why I think that spiritual context is so important is that it does give, a holding foundation and meaning to that. So this whole process of coming down the mountain, in my experience, is can be quite challenging. You need to find a way of coming into the world as your most authentic self, really sort of, in touch with the gifts that you have, your unique gifts, the challenge to transform some of your limiting beliefs, your wounded material, which may have defined you in the past, maybe still there, still needing some work, but not having to define you anymore. There's this whole journey that I spoke of about, the shift from being wounds-driven to purpose-driven, to actually seeing everything that's happened in your life up to this point as the perfect training ground for what it is you have to offer. Now, my own woundings are in the areas of visibility and significance, the things that I call the core wound, or the material from which any of us becomes a wounded healer. And I think certainly where we're operating from the spiritual context, whatever field we're in, to a certain extent we are wounded healers. If we approach our gifts as being one unique contribution to the whole, then what we give is about, the healing or evolution of the whole. So where does branding come into all of this? To me, the branding journey is the journey of differentiating, so that it's where we meet the market, where we can demonstrate our gifts. And if we have gifts, if we're looking at it from a holistic perspective, if we have gifts to give, there must be somewhere else, some other people that have a need for those gifts. It doesn't make sense from a holistic viewpoint that you would have the god or goddess, however you want to look at it, is going to put a person in the world as an individual expression of the whole, without there being others that might have a need where that expression meets. So I think the way that we brand is our way of helping finding that place in the market, helping those who have a need to find what we have to give. And that's our responsibility from that point of view. So perfect metaphor might be, what we have in the store is our gifts, our experiences, our qualifications. And then we've got the shop window, haven't we? The shop windows often change every season, don't they? So we also may need to change our shop windows to, to sort of, again, meet various changes in the market. So what's in the store, that there's a basic foundation of what's in the store, and we may continue to upgrade that. We continue to dress the shop window. But there's a theme that always runs through, which is what I see as being our personal brand. These are our unique qualities. And to me, this comes from our unique expression as sound and light. These are our voices, our expression is sound and light. It's actually our colorings, our facial features, how we are actually appear in the world. So what I'd like to talk to you over the next couple of days is a concept which I'm starting to call embodied branding. And I put together 2 of my certifications for this. One is tribal marketing, which I told you about a little bit about yesterday. I talked a little bit about the life PhD process and the evaluation of the core wound to try to to pivot from being wounds driven to purpose driven. And tomorrow I'd like to tell you a little bit more about some of the niching process of tribal marketing. It's like how you find your 1 square inch of space in the marketplace. And the concept is you find your 1 square inch of space, you start drilling it a mile deep. And this is your space where you have no competition in the market. And then the other thing I'd like to talk to you about the following day is more about my passion for the color work. We could use the term image, but I prefer the term essence. What we're talking about is the colors that are your essence, your presentation in the form of light, and then how you can then translate that into the clothes that you wear that don't detract from your appearance, the clothes that you wear that make you visible so people see you, not the clothes, and then how that then translates into like branding colors and even like designs for fonts. So if you're self-employed like me, it does become relevant when you need to produce a website or branding materials. So that's what's coming up over the next couple of days. And I hope there's been something useful in those points I've made today about visibility, personal branding, and my new term, embodied branding. Lots of love and goodbye for now.